Hi, just so everyone knows, this video is going to be private, so only the people I share it with are going to be able to see it. So it's only going to be Hax and the NYC TOs. Alright, so I'll just start reading it. Hax's ban. I promise you this will not be a waste of time. Please read this and reconsider the decision when you see the new context. It must be acknowledged that Hax fosters a community with very few bad apples. The way he's presented himself in a formal way and has denounced toxicity towards Leffen and anyone else should not be ignored. Hax has not shined a light that would attract toxic people literally ever. Yet there's very few but some toxic people who are in support of Hax and harass the people Hax mentions. So what's going on? It's literally Technicals' fan base, and I am in it, so I can tell you for a fact it's because of him. Technicals, I don't give a fuck, funny and outspoken attitude attracts a lot of people, including me, who like to roast and trash talk, but it also attracts people who are too toxic and take it too far. They're the minority, but they still exist. Because Technicals has supported Hax for so long, it's created fan crossover, and suddenly some people who loosely support Hax are harassing people and Hax has no clue. Here's a screenshot of Hax's cluelessness and my cluelessness to this fact. This was in response to Levin saying he got death threats. By the way, I actually checked his recent tweets at the time and I saw nothing, but who knows, there's always his business email since his DMs are also closed. We have no way to see this coming. I only realized what was really going on after reading Willie P's personal reasons for his decisions. It is unfair to punish Hax for something he and everyone else in his community have no way to anticipate. Hax's most toxic fan is literally me, and I think that threats are dumb as fuck. I don't do it, and Hax's other close fans definitely don't do it. So not only is the ban punishing Hax for something he didn't do himself, you're also punishing for something you can't expect. You advised him to private message his appeals to the TOs for a better chance of him getting unbanned. You did not mention it will stop his fans from sending harassment, which is another reason the ban is unfair. You should have been more transparent about that rather than telling him after banning him that it was a reason for banning. You let him fall into a pitfall there was no reason not to tell him existed. For previously mentioned reasons, it's not reasonable for him to see that coming. But same can be said for you, since you guys probably thought he had a toxic fan base and went ahead with his videos anyway. It couldn't be further from the truth. Hax and his close community don't get to see any death threats. I've never seen one publicly, and if you check my Twitter, I'm letting my opinion known about the subject almost everywhere it's mentioned. Now that I realize Hax and Technicals have some crossover fans, it makes more sense, and I do believe that threats were sent. As Hax's most toxic fan, I am sorry they were sent. It doesn't represent all the rest of us. Anyway, so why the fuck did Hax not privately message TOs earlier like multiple people recommended? So here's the screenshot. I'll just read it out. When you put it on your Twitter at the TOs, this is directed towards, I'm not sure what you mentioned of what your method of contacting the TOs is, but if it's just a public video and a public tweet, it's likely to be ignored. You need to address it to the TOs directly, not in the vid, but in a tweet or DM. Sorry if this is obvious and something you do anyway. Now, Hax thinks that adding them is too rude and that they'll see it anyway. And that's my response there at the bottom. And he just is, he's determined not to add them. Alright, so the video we're talking about is that one. I wanted to send this as a file, I couldn't do it. It's one of his early apology videos. Anyway, the the exact apology video isn't really important. It's just one of the early apology videos. Um, the date of the Discord messages, it's around that time. So if you want to go and search for it, you can, but it's not really that important. Okay, so because the goober thought it would be rude. Yep. If this doesn't debunk the idea Hax thought people were sending death threats, then nothing will, because I think fans sending threats is a bit more rude than sending a link to a video in DMs, if I'm not mistaken. Solution time. After you guys read this, again, I meant to send it as a document. Anyway, I really hope you did, because I truthfully think this is going to be the best for everyone. And after Hax reads this, everyone should fully understand why New York City banned Hax and why they did it. At the time this ban happened, it wasn't the correct decision due to the lack of transparency from NYC. You guys saw Pitfall Hax and nobody else could see, and you let Hax fall into it. Completely accidentally, with no provable malicious intent, and in my opinion, none at all. Now that everyone is aware of the pitfall, Hax should be unbanned, and if he falls into it again, then the ban should be permanent. However, before we reinstate Hax and the pitfall needs more clarity and, in my opinion, a nerf. Instead of what it is now, I believe the new rules should be as follows. Hax can no longer publicly make ban appeals. That's as far as it needs to go, really. Otherwise, it looks like you're trying to shut Hax up and like you're being unfair to your own community members. The angriest comments about New York City's second ban was people outside the community who look in and wonder, why does someone as harmless as Hax have such a tight leash around his neck? And it's not a bad question, honestly. Red Bull and Leffen made a documentary about Leffen's ban from Sweden. The Smash community looks like a joke, treating one player completely differently from other players, especially when the player has a clear passion and love for the game and community. Cut Hax some slack, and you'll see suddenly people don't have a problem with us anymore. It means Hax can hopefully get unbanned from majors, and way less angry people with way less of a reason to be angry in the first place. Here's Simple Flips, who was, now if you know Simple Flips, you know he's a reasonable guy. Here's a tweet from him. The banned individual engages in no additional interviews or public discussions on the topic of their ban for their own social media channels or any other. They really tried getting Hax to shut the fuck up. You can't be unbanned if you talk about your ban. And then he goes on to call them losers as a response to the statement. The like and retweet is because at the time I couldn't see the reason for what New York City Melee did. Nobody could. I didn't see anyone give a strong reason for the ban, as Willie P did today, and hopefully this response will serve as the voice of reason that will benefit everyone in the future. Thank you for reading and for listening.